Welcome back, everyone. So summer is finally here in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, and nature has been flourishing, blooming with so much diversity and abundance. And it's also the peak season for wild mushrooms right now. These last 2 weeks I was home alone since Travis had to go down south in the tropics because there was some details that we had to manage with the finishes of our house. And since I have an immigration status that do not allow me to get out of the country right now, I stayed home. I took this time to see some friends in town, but mainly I just had myself a little retreat at our mountain property. And I spent a lot of time in the wilderness searching for mushrooms and berries and other plants. Throughout this whole journey, I must say that I also had a little adventure that left me quite humbled. I'll speak about it later anyway. So for the moment, I'm bringing you on a hike so we can look for wild mushrooms, and I hope you enjoy it. We are often asked how we started foraging, and to be honest, we are quite beginners in some ways. Like, we've been foraging for 3 years now, and it really all started when a friend of us gave us a big cluster of oyster mushrooms that he had picked maybe 5 minutes from our home. And something just clicked when I saw that. I realized that there were some edible mushrooms in this forest. And I started making lots of research about it. Travis kind of jumped on the train along the way because clearly there's a strong interest, and we live surrounded by forests. So we thought that it would be great to just learn to know our land, learn to know the diversity that surrounds us. So we started buying books and looking online on websites, on blogs, and of course we wandered around in the forest. I also have a very strong photographic memory, so I started printing in my brain all those edible mushrooms that I knew we could find in the area. And then we learned to do spore prints for identification. And I must say that we became kind of obsessed. I became obsessed with it at first, and then once Travis had found his first edible mushroom, his first porcini, something clicked in him and he just became as obsessed as I am. So nowadays we can go in the forest and identify more than 20 kinds of edible mushrooms that we have tried multiple times. And we also love to bring home some specimens that we don't know, so we can just identify them, not because we want to eat them or consume them in any ways, but just so we can get to know our land better. Okay, I got very big news. I just am just coming back from town and went to the post office, and I have received my green card, my permanent residency for the United States of America. Now that it's all resolved, I can talk about it, but I've been overstaying my visa for the last almost 2 years, so
it meant that I could not get out of the country and come back. I could have gotten out anytime, but would probably have been banned on the way back. Yeah, I feel just this sense of relief inside of me that finally I am able to get in and out of the country, which also means that I can go see my family eventually. We were supposed to go this summer and we had to cancel because I didn't have my papers, so I couldn't go. So right now it means that we can go anytime, and it's a very exciting news. And the other thing that is very surprising actually is that I was told that normally it takes between 10 to 14 months between the moment you send your request and the moment you get the acceptation. And normally it would require an interview with some official. Form has been accepted. I received the green card without any interview, which is almost a miracle, which is extraordinary. I don't know, I feel all this expansion in my field. It's it's very interesting to for 2 years to focus on something that you need to obtain that in order to be able to travel. Or and now that I have this in hand, this little piece of plastic with a little flyer saying guide for the new immigrants of you, welcome to the United States, this is those two little pieces of paper kind of allow me suddenly to stay here and be legal and just have like a relaxed life like any other citizen. It feels awesome, really. It means that right now we have all this freedom to come in and out of the country, but also to eventually go. We will probably spend a part of the winter in the tropics because our home will be finished, and we will go start to garden there and just start our food forest and everything. But also we're gonna go see my family probably during the Christmas holidays and spend a couple of weeks there. I can't wait for Travis to come back so we can celebrate together.
Okay, so here is the little adventure I talked about at the beginning of this video. So by a beautiful day, it was the end of the afternoon when I decided that I wanted to go forage in this mushroom place that, well, we've been there a couple of times, but I'm not that familiar with. It's at 9,500 feet, it's an altitude, it's in the middle of the forest, there's not so many obvious trails, but there's a stream that if you stay along the stream you can find some goodies because there's a microclimate there. So I went there at the end of one afternoon, and it was the first time I was going there by myself. So I started just searching all around and kind of going around, but always finding my way back to where I had started. But at some point I decided to just follow a stream because I was following the mushrooms, if I can say. But the thing is that at some point, my inner guidance told me to go back, but as I was very eager to find something more, I actually kept walking and walking and walking, and I went away from the stream, and then I came back. I kind of went in a circle a little bit, and then I realized I was lost. But you know, I've grown up north in Canada, so I'm quite used to the forest, I'm used to the woods. I guess I feel quite safe in that kind of environment, but for the first time of my life, I really felt like I had no sense of orientation at all. I felt like I was very small and that the mountains were very big, and I felt like I should have listened to what I was hearing inside of me. So I ended up starting to breathe deeply because I knew panicking would not be the right solution. And then I remembered that I had seen a pickup truck that was near the entrance of the forest where I started walking. So I just yelled a little, "Ayo!" wanting to look casual, you know, not wanting to look too lost. And I did that 2 or 3 times, and suddenly I heard this man just, "Ayo!" So it gave me a direction because I knew that if I could just follow that voice, then I could find the trail back. I could find the ATV trail back, which I did. But then I ended up being in nothing. Like, even if I had to walk in straight line along a stream, all of a sudden it was a totally different environment. I ended up having to walk in the wetlands. I started sweating. I started having a little shake because it was also late that night. I mean, the sun was about to go down in about maybe, I don't know, 40 minutes, something like that. And for a moment, I really considered the fact that I might have to spend the night in the forest. So I kept on walking. I did another little "eh-oh," and somebody answered to me again. So I kept on walking in that direction, and I ended up recognizing where I was after walking for half an hour, which was such a relief. I really, really inside felt, a part of me felt ashamed that I was not careful. A part of me felt a little stupid also because you don't mess with nature. There's a lot to teach you if you are willing to listen, but I think if you are too greedy, then some kind of things like this can happen. So I swear I really had my lesson, and I felt so humbled after that, and at the same time I felt blessed that I had found my way back home. So yeah, I promised myself that this would never happen again. It could have ended very bad, so it's interesting also because I haven't told that story to no one but Travis, so now it's out there. But just know, guys, don't do that. I think if you go into the wood, I mean, I had a compass, I had some food with me, I had extra layers, but still, you don't want to get lost, so be careful and just be prepared and don't get out of the beaten path if you don't know the area so well. So